Today on the Kickback.
There's a couple easy classes at Penn that you should really know about going to Penn. Language, take Zulu. Zulu is probably the easiest language requirement you could ever take. It's with Mama Beche. She is the best teacher.
There's another class called Movement Fundamentals. It's in the theater department, and you literally just stretch for 2 hours.
What's up, what's up, what's up? It's your girl Dom, and welcome back to the Kickback. Today we're going to be talking about what classes are easy A's, what website you can go to find out the difficulty of classes and the difficulty of professors, and also why students chose their majors. This week's cast heading to the Kickback are Abel from Yale University, Angel from Columbia University, Hannah from Brown University, Momi from Dartmouth College, Nafisa from Princeton University, PK from Harvard University, Quinn from the University of Pennsylvania, and Trevor from Cornell University. Grab your notepad because you might want to take some notes, and let's head to the Kickback. Hey guys, welcome back to the Kickback, and I'm here with the new cast talking about why they chose their majors. So I'm going to have them begin by introducing themselves by saying their name, their school, their year, and then we're actually going to guess what their major is. So let's start with Columbia.
Hi guys, I'm Angel. I'm a rising junior at Columbia University, and my major is a perfect mixture of technology and business. We improve systems, and it's a similar major to that of famous CEO of Apple, Tim Cook.
Does anybody have a guess?
Computer science? It's not computer science?
Kind of close. We have elements of computer science.
You do business.
A little bit.
And engineering?
Yes, a type of engineering.
Data analytics?
We do some data analytics. I am studying operations research.
Hey everyone, my name is Hannah. I'm a rising sophomore at Brown University, and I'm actually double majoring, so I'll just give 3 of each. So my first major is very known to be like greedy and unethical, and it's male dominated. And then it's like the polar opposite for my other one, so it's primarily female dominated, and we're known to be like considerate and wanting to help people. So totally different spectrums, but
Economics?
that's the first one.
Sociology?
Nursing?
Not sociology. I didn't hear the other one.
Psychology?
Not nursing or psychology, but nursing is closer than all the other ones.
Gender studies?
Not gender studies. I'm just going to say it. It's public health.
Oh.
A little different.
Hey guys, I'm PK. I'm a rising senior at Harvard. 3 things about my concentration, I guess that's what we call it. I guess you can do anything with it. I think it's the 4th largest at Harvard, and we like numbers. I guess that's pretty easy.
Oh, economics?
No.
Computer science?
Economics is by far number 1.
Okay.
Computer science?
No.
Is it a math or math?
Yeah, applied math with a focus in bio.
Oh, I didn't think it'd be that popular.
Harvard are some nerds.
Hi guys, I go to Cornell. My name is Trevor 𝐋𝐄, and I'm a rising junior. And my major is really hard, so you guys are not going to get it if you haven't gotten the other ones. I can study whatever I want as long as I have a plan laid out for the 4 years. It's going to take me an extra semester to graduate, and I can study within different schools within my college, so I can jump between schools.
Like general education?
Studies.
Yeah, that's what it was. Who said that? Who said independent study? Good job.
Okay, Angel.
Hi everyone, my name is Momi, and at Dartmouth we actually don't say like sophomores, juniors, seniors. We kind of call everyone by their class year. So I'm a 20, which means that I'm graduating this year, and I have a modified major. So the first 2 about my main major, and then the 3rd clue is about my modified portion. I'm all about people. I look at things from a bird's eye view, but also up close and personal. And my modified major has something to do with culture.
Anthropology?
That's the modified part.
Political science?
Yes, so I'm a soci major modified with anthropology, and I'm also pre-health, but that's not like part of the major.
Hi guys, my name is Nafisa. I'm a rising junior at Princeton, and my major is one of the largest majors at Princeton. Some people argue that it's the science, some people say that it's not. and then a lot of it's going to consulting.
Political science?
Yeah. I thought I made it hard.
Yo, my name is Abel. I'm a rising junior at Yale, and some misconceptions about my major is that nobody enjoys it. We're all cutthroat, and we all want to go into the same career.
Economics?
Finance.
No,
Is it
Computer
accounting?
science,
no,
engineering. I don't know.
But yeah, engineering?
no.
Political science?
My professor once said that is the most important subject.
Government.
Biology.
Yeah, biology.
Oh, that works.
Oh, that is
It's the
cutthroat.
most important. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either.
Hey everybody, I'm gonna say the best for last, UPenn. But I am a rising junior at the University of Pennsylvania. I would probably say my 3 facts. Let's say 50% of people declare this as their major going into college. Only about maybe 20% actually graduate with it. And could be a lucrative major.
Pre-med.
Business?
What is it?
Is it business?
No,
Biology or chemistry?
it's biology.
The most important major.
Yep.
Yeah.
What were you guys' passions in high school, and how do you think that kind of resulted in your career and like major choice now? And I'm going to show you my example first before I ask you the question. So growing up for me, I loved garage sales. Like I was obsessed with garage sales and like going to Sam's Club and like buying giant boxes of candy. And like you're not supposed to do this at high schools or like middle schools, but I would go around and sell my candy on the wall. I was all about like making money. So then now I'm a business major. So was there anything that you guys did when you were young that resulted in you finding your passion within your major now?
I would say probably growing up, I love cutting stuff, like cutting into things like ants. I like to cut. I was kind of, I guess, kind of like a cannibal, maybe not a cannibal to say, but I would just cut into things, like I would like cut open like frogs if I found them. I just love looking inside of stuff. So I kind of realized, oh, that's what surgeons and doctors do. So maybe that's my passion. I'm not just like a psychopath. Then like I got the pen trying to figure out, and Bio 101, I was like, maybe not biology. But then I said, I'm going to keep on pushing, and hopefully I get to go to med school.
Like a lot of other brown kids my age had their parents tell them to do pre-med, like ever since I was right out of the womb. I think I realized that I did not want to do pre-med when I would like go to the like doctor for like a flu shot, and like I would just be like so deathly afraid of the needles. Like anything medical related just like repulsed me and my homegirls. I told my parents before I got to high school, like I think I want to major in politics, just because it was like what else? Like I suck at math. I don't like being a doctor, or I don't like the idea of being a doctor.
I'm Native Hawaiian, so like a lot of what our culture is based on is a lot of just like traditional ailments and medicines, and so I was around that a lot as a kid. I actually like didn't even go into Dartmouth thinking like, oh, I want to be a doctor. I kind of went in thinking like I wanted to do pre-law, because I was like, I'm good at arguing. Like I argue with people all the time, so I was like, I'd be great at it. But then I think I kind of like flash back to my experiences as a kid and kind of seeing how a lot of Native Hawaiians are like super just against going to the doctor. And so I was kind of like, I want to be the person, who is the brown doctor who can kind of relate a little bit better to my people.
My major now is pretty vague, but I started as an architect. And when I was younger, all I wanted to do was study architecture. And so I'd draw houses and I made models and I would go out and build stuff. And that was sort of my passion for almost my entire childhood. And then I got to college, and the actual architecture school is very different than what you imagine it to be. It's a lot more meticulous math-based classes, and it's a lot more around, learning about engineering and passing certain tests, and also like sort of leading to a very minute, very particular career in a very small area. And I felt kind of confined by that. And so I sort of discovered my passion much later on than the average college student. And it took me some time to sort of expand my interest in college. And I ended up taking a whole year off. So I haven't been in school for a whole year. And I was traveling through Latin America, and I did a lot of work sort of in consulting and like sort of in environmental work. And so it took me a while to find my major, but you may not know what you want to do until you actually go out there and do it in real life. That's my main takeaway from my experience.
For me, in high school, I never really knew exactly what I wanted to do in my future, but I was always really good at math. I was really interested in STEM, but at the same time, I was a very creative person, so I was also in art. I do a lot of art. I sell my own artwork, stuff like that. My parents were never like overbearing. They were never, because I've always been somebody who's like in charge of myself. So they never forced me into sort of anything, which is common for Nigerian parents. They tend to be like, you need to be a doctor or you need to be a lawyer. But my parents were like, you can do whatever you want to do because I know you're smart enough to do it. But I knew going into college that I wanted something broad enough that wasn't going to limit me.
For me, it was an interesting experience, except like my parents tried to get me to go to computer science because I think that's the fields they're in right now, and so like they felt comfortable with that. When I was in like lower school, I really started to love math. The times tables, I don't know if you guys had those where you just like fill out the multiplication. I was always really good at those, and I just like enjoyed being good at those. In middle school and high school, I think my teachers were very important and like telling me to pursue like what I was interested in. Like, and I think they saw like my motivation for it, so they kind of like sat me outside of the classroom in middle school with the textbook and kind of like said, if you want to teach yourself, like go for it. And so that was just like where I fell in love with math. I think the applied math came from wanting to see like what the math itself does in the world. The class I was most interested in was the biologies or the neurobios. And so I decided to do applied math bio.
I was originally born in Ethiopia, and I guess I've always been disturbed by the health disparities just across the world and in like communities, my own community here. So I've always wanted to make an impact on that. And also it didn't help that my mom's always given me one career choice, which is to go into medicine, and my older brother's going into medicine. So I feel like my whole life I've just been on track to go into medicine. But when it comes to bio, I think it's the one that requires the least thought when you're trying to plan out your courses for a pre-med. And also I think it allows me to express my creativity because science does require creativity. That's something I didn't know when I came into college.
In what way are you creative in science? Just wondering. I don't know.
Yeah, so I feel like going to Yale, I had a great opportunity to be exposed to a lot of undergraduate research opportunities where they like prioritize learning for undergrads and how to get into the bio labs and everything like that. They give you projects or they tell you, hey, find a problem with how we do things here and see if you can write a paper about it.
So back in high school, like obviously I was into math because I went to a STEM public charter school. So the whole time it was always, okay, do something engineering, do something math, do something pre-med. I realized that like, though I love STEM fields and I like math a lot, I wanted something that was also contributing to my development in like communication and speaking and talking to clients and being vocal and showing your personality. So that was kind of where I realized like business was the merge between the two, math and communication. And so that was kind of a given for me. Econ was particularly because I had interest in markets rather than just like business admin as a whole. Public health really came to be my freshman fall semester when I took a public health course. And like Abel from Yale said, there's a lot of health and healthcare disparities, especially in the US. And I just learned, my eyes were open to the issues within our healthcare system.
What is each of your schools known for? Like how Penn might be known for Wharton. What other majors are your schools specifically known for?
A lot of students in my major tend to complain about how Yale's focus is mostly like history and economics and stuff like that. So a lot of people who are majoring in the sciences feel like they're neglected.
At Harvard, like economics is like the huge one. I think it's the biggest by far. Gov is really big, and I think that's also related to the amount of resources on campus, just in terms of like having the law school right there. And
I know at Columbia it's really popular for people to study political science or economics in the college, and then into engineering school, like computer science is really popular, but you can do those majors and still end up going into any sort of career field. A lot of people dabble in finance, so I even did a little finance stint. I interned at Morgan Stanley for like a short period of time, and my mentor was a chemical engineering major. So you can do whatever you want.
These finance jobs or other econ jobs, again, you can do these jobs with any major, but primarily like finance jobs are known to be through connections with like school alumni. And I think we can unanimously say that our schools are widely known for our strong alumni networks. So again, Brown, I think, is strong in econ in that sense, but I think something different is like computer science is something that not a lot of people know Brown's strong at. Also, people on the pre-med track say that Brown's pre-med opportunities are really great.
I think Cornell's strong for life sciences, but the business school sort of dominates the culture a lot because of the competitive energy in my school. I'm not sure if you guys have a lot of sort of competition within students for internships and other opportunities, but Cornell's got a pretty intense competitive culture. And even though the majority of people don't actually attempt to take jobs in consulting or business from life sciences, that sort of takes up the majority of the conversation around internships. It's nice to see that you guys all have like really cool interests outside of business, even though you guys are still sort of both, or a lot of you guys are participating in the business sort of internship world.
I have a question for Brown, actually. From my understanding with Brown is that with your majors that you can sort of choose the classes that you take. Could you explain more about like what that process is like and if you guys have any like requirements?
Yeah, so I think the open curriculum is definitely a big part of why high school students apply and then actually choose to go to Brown, and that's also probably the biggest facet to the Brown education. So we have no requirements at all except for our major requirements. So once you fulfill those, or like simultaneously while fulfilling those, you can take whatever you want. So there's two approaches to the open curriculum. One much more popular than the other. So the first approach is like really honing in on your studies and your interests. So if you're like a CS major, you take all your CS requirements, you can literally just take CS. But the more popular approach, the one that's encouraged, is like really trying to touch base with a number of different disciplines so you can see, the world more holistically and also kind of through several different lenses. So even though I'm double majoring, I think I have like 10 classes throughout my 4 years. I can take whatever I want. So like this semester I took an engineering course, and like last semester I took a biotechnology course. So it's really open to do whatever you want to do. And then in turn, of course, that's like transferable skills. One of the indirect positives of the open curriculum that not a lot of people talk about is that through taking these different courses, you get to work alongside and engage with students that are outside of your major. So of course, on the weekends you can go party with, I can go party with like a philosophy major or like an ethnic studies major, but being able to sit down and work on a group project or like an assignment or have a discussion academically with people that are outside of your major is really, really great to just like facilitate your own personal interests.
That's actually interesting because I'd say that with Columbia, with our like kind of forced core, there's some of the same elements. So I think it's quite interesting because, you could go to somewhere like Brown and have a lot more freedom in what you want to do, or you could go somewhere like Columbia and where it's a lot more structured and still come out with a lot of the same elements.
Yeah, I think Penn is kind of like on the restrictive side, kind of like Columbia. So Penn is basically broken up into 4 different schools. You have Wharton, the college, nursing, and then engineering. Basically, nursing and engineering, like they have their own respect. They're kind of like to the side, like nursing, top nursing school, engineering, everybody. Engineering is like really smart in the books. Like you might see engineering like on the weekends, you might never see them the entire semester. But now like kind of like the rivalry is like between the college and Wharton. At Penn, I really wish that the college students, which is like the majority of the Penn undergrad, but the college students are limited to maybe only 3 classes in Wharton, which kind of puts Wharton on even a higher pedestal and makes college students kind of look down on themselves. Because when you're applying to Penn, you think you're just going to the school, University of Pennsylvania. But no, you're either at the University of Pennsylvania or you're in the Wharton School of Business. But as you grow and like become junior, sophomore, blah, 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 you kind of realize that you get stuck in your major and you become happier within your major, and you realize that it's cool. I'm not in Wharton, even though I didn't know Wharton had this much hype, but it's cool. I'm a college kid. College.
Yeah, I guess on that Harvard College, we have this cool program called Shopping Week. It's, I think, one of the best parts of school. The first week of every semester, you can go and sit down in whatever class on campus you want, and you don't have to sign up for the class and you don't have to register or enroll. I've been able to take classes I never had any like motivation to take had I not shopped the class and seen like how the structure of the class was going to be.
Kind of going into more about Dartmouth, we have 35 credits, and I know that there are a lot of econ majors and like government majors, but I wouldn't say that there's like a huge kind of like separation between the student body. I think, like you could be sitting in class with an econ major and then that night like partying with a philosophy major, just like Hannah said. And like PK said, like being able to shop classes is super good. The one reason why Dartmouth students shop classes is because everyone's looking for what they call a layup. So this is like an easy class that like people have gotten A's in, like everyone's looking for that layup class. And we actually have like a site called Layup List. And so you kind of just look at like, what's been the median and kind of those kinds of things.
That was actually the next question, the layup. classes, which I know is something different. At each school, it's different names.
But if you could throw out, if you can think of one, either your favorite class or an easy class at your university for the kids watching that they might want to add to their schedules.
There's a couple easy classes at Penn that you should really know about going to Penn. So language, take Zulu. Zulu is probably the easiest language requirement you could ever take. It's with Mama 𝐷𝐒𝐄𝐒. She is the best teacher, maybe 10 people in the class. We were supposed to have 3 exams and a final. We ended up only having a take-home final because she just said, I don't want to do it. Another class is called Cinema 150. It's a half credit, but all I did was go to see movies every Thursday. And there were 30 showings the entire semester, and you only have to go to 10.
We also have like easy classes, and like it's to the point where like our dean of studies will email us a list like titled like easy 4th/5th classes, stars through stoners, which is like I think like an astrology class, or like rocks for jocks, which is like an easy geology class. A lot of people make fun of it, but those 2 classes I would be on the lookout if you decide to come to Princeton.
I think at Brown, it's kind of like unspoken, actually. Like, we don't have a name for the easy classes, and definitely no professors talk about it. It's really just within the students will be like, oh, like, take this class if you need, like, your GPA up or whatever. I think the 2 easiest classes that like, I hear about is actually an engineering course and a computer science course. So I already took the engineering one. It's called Appropriate Technology, and it's actually because it's taught by this professor. His name is Professor Hazeltine. He's actually well known in, like, the engineering field, but he's, like, 80 years old. He's the sweetest professor ever. He's so cute, and you just like, as long as you do the work, you get an A. The computer science course is called the Digital Worlds. It's like just basic level computer science, and I don't know why, but every single person gets an A in it.
At Harvard, we call them the gems, and so it's like very common to like, honestly, it's not even like picking gems only. It's like a balance of whether you're taking like hard classes, you want to pad it a little bit with gems to make it a more manageable schedule. The most like famous one is called Greek Heroes. It was the most registered for class when I took it 2 years ago. It had to like be at least 500, 600 kids shopping the class. But I think the gems are like, they're kind of tricky because every year, if it's a gem one year, they oftentimes just like reverse on you and put an exam just because. But some professors want you to take their class, so they tell you it's going to be like gemmy at the beginning. They're like, we want you to come so we get like more students and I guess like more funding for the department if you take it.
Yeah, and then there's some professors who get offended when they figure out that students think their class is easy. Yeah, I've had professors who like the first day of class, they'll say, if you're here because you think it's an easy A, just leave. Like during the shopping period, they're like, this is not an easy A. The easiest class I took was Stats 101, and it had like 400 students in there because most people would like try to get their math requirement out of the way or their quantitative reasoning requirements out of the way.
Are you sure that class is easy, or are you just smart? Because I've never heard
anyone. No, trust me. Trust me, math, I took an L in calc, so I'm the right person to ask about that.
Yeah, I took stats as well. It was super easy at my school as well, like the intro stats course.
Yeah, I don't think I took my calculator out like even one time.
Yeah, that's actually kind of crazy. Stat at Penn is also really easy too. Maybe it's just the whole thing.
I think the most fun course, so when I was a course called wine tasting, which actually is the most common
about that.
on campus. You're not allowed to drink the wine. And so everybody just drinks anyways and they all fail. So you have to like spit it out, and so I recommend that class because it's a lot of fun, but don't think it's a joke. You know, like I got there and I was just like, oh hell yeah, I get to drink wine all day and make up stuff about how it tastes. But no, it's not like that at all. It's very serious.
At Columbia, at least in the engineering school, I feel like it's not as easy to be able to say like, oh, here's an easy class to take because we have a lot of structure to what we have to do. And like literally in my junior year, I didn't even really pick my classes. It was just all requirements. So what we do is more so like which professor or instructor to take. But I'll also say that certain classes that I found were easier were things that were like project-based, like sort of entrepreneurship type classes.
We have this option called like PDF, which is essentially the same thing as pass fail, except there's the option of like getting a D instead. So it's like either you pass or you get a D or you fail. And it's like if you get a D, it doesn't show up if you fail, you get a D, and you don't pass either. So a lot of people will like take these easy classes and they're like, oh, I'm considering pass failing, and then like half the semester goes by and like the deadline for pass failing the course has like elapsed. And at that point, it's like their grades are so low. So they go into these like very easy classes thinking that they're going to get an A or thinking that they can just pass fail. But then like the opportunity like bypasses them. So like just like retweeting what Angel said, like I think it's a lot smarter to like look at the syllabi and like, or look at the syllabus of the class and like ask yourself, do I do better in like essay classes? Do I do better in like problem set classes? Or do I do better in like project-based classes?
Honestly, I have 2 words, Arabian Nights. That is the easiest class I've ever taken in my whole entire life. Like probably even like high school. Like I feel so bad because the professor is so cute. Like he is just so sweet. He kind of like huffs and puffs everywhere he goes, but like I think that's just like a normal thing that happens. Anyone who knows 𝐋𝐄𝐓'𝐒 is like, this is the man. Like all you do is like learn about like Arabian stories. So like we learned about like Aladdin and like all the other things that kind of are like Middle Eastern stories, which is like super awesome. No one really comes to class. I'd also say that contrary to popular belief, like the intro classes are weeder classes. So Econ 1, people are like, oh my God, Econ 1, and what, like, how hard could it be? And like, people are like, well, I failed. So, and like, now I'm not an econ major. So I think that's also one thing to keep in mind is like, are these intro classes trying to like weed me out? And I think one other one is like African drumming. So you literally just sit there for like 2 hours learning about African drums and like playing them. And then there's another class called Movement Fundamentals. It's in the theater department, and you literally just stretch for 2 hours.
You brought up like physical classes. So Columbia does have like a PE requirement. A really easy PE requirement I took was cardio fitness. And it doesn't sound that easy, but like they literally just take you to the gym and they're like, okay, for like 30, like what is it, like 40 minutes, you're just use the machines like at your own pace. Like they don't even stay in the room. A lot of people stay for like 10 minutes and then leave.
Does any of you have a PE requirement?
Oh.
Yeah? Interesting.
Y'all don't got to
Columbia also has a swimming requirement.
Oh,
not for the engineers though. It's a really weird story. There's like multiple theories. One thing is that like, oh, that if the Hudson River like floods, that all the college students will swim and then all the engineers will like build a bridge or something.
What if you can't swim?
You have to pass this.
Yeah.
To graduate.
We have a swim test class, and you have to pass the swim test to even start taking courses or to be a student at Cornell. You know, they have a class for the first years.
It's literally just like 1 lap down and 1 lap back. Like that's the swim test. But I know a lot of my friends are like, I never swam when I was like growing up. Like this is just like discriminatory.
Do you know if the swimming requirement has anything to do with the fact that y'all are like in the middle of nowhere and like there's like hella waterfalls around y'all or something?
I have no idea, but I know you can't really swim in the waterfalls next to the school. Like they don't allow you to. But there's like one gorge everybody goes to go swimming in. And we had one kid almost drown in that gorge. So maybe after that, they were just like, these kids need to know how to swim if they're going to be out there swimming in rivers.
I feel like there was something about maybe somebody actually drowned and then their family had a lot of money and we're like, we want to have a swim test that everybody needs to learn how to swim, and then like put a lot of funding into it. But I really don't know. I don't have to do it as an engineer, so.
Our school's next to like a river, and although it's like blocked off most of the year, I really don't know why they out here making grown people swim.
Each semester, how many classes you usually take. So on the count of 3, you can just put up that amount of numbers of classes, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it looks like Dartmouth is the least and Columbia is the most. I'm gonna have you guys on 3 put a thumbs up, give me in the middle, or a thumbs down if you think your school was harder than you expected it to be before you got to your university.
Thumbs up, harder, easier.
Is that it's harder, and then thumbs down is that it was easier. Like that. And then this is like, it was what I expected. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, awesome. Okay, so then my next question, and this can just be the quick answer of the name of a website, if your school has one, where students can go to kind of check the difficulty of classes, see how good the professors are. If you can give out that name, so when freshmen are building their schedules before they get to school, they kind of know which website to go to check out their classes.
I think ours is called Princeton Courses.
Ours is called Course Table.
Ours is called Virgil. We have Virgil Plus now, with a little extension that somebody made.
Ours is called Pin Course Review. Wish somebody would have told me that before the end of my freshman year. Pin Course Review.
Ours is called Q Guide.
Ours is called the Critical Review.
I
don't know what mine's called.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, we have like a registrar puts out like a timetable to look at all the classes and kind of like courses.
I'm gonna have you put a thumbs up if you chose your major to make money, or a thumbs down if you chose it because you're passionate about it. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that was pretty good. My last question is, what tips would you guys give freshmen on choosing majors? I know for me, I would suggest that you choose a major that you're passionate about, not what anybody else has to say, because it's you that has to do it for the rest of your life.
I know that a lot of students who've had that dilemma where they're like, I could kind of do anything, like I could do this, I could do that, like I'm interested in this. So I say just pick whatever you're most interested in and know that like you can always change it. I don't think it's a huge problem to switch your major, to change your interests, or like maybe if you're kind of stuck where you are, you can, as I said before, like you can do anything with the major that you have. Like your major kind of, in my opinion, ends after you graduate, and you can do whatever you want.
I'd say talk to faculty within the department and ask them like what are the types of like expectations in terms of like work that you have to submit, like what percentage of your coursework is essays, what percentage of it is PSETs, what percentage of it is like independent work, what percentage of it is guided like casework.
I wish I was that person who was passionate about one single thing, but I was like, I can dip my toe in everything. So I think just shop around and don't just be limited, and make sure that you are just like thinking about what will appease you, because you're the one that's doing your major, not anybody else.
My tip is don't even worry about what you're going to study until you're there, and taking courses and joining clubs is really the biggest thing for me. I realized like that I do like, XYZ, and it's not like you have to do that major to get into that career option, but just talking to upperclassmen or talking to students and be like, hey, what do you study? Like, what's a class that you liked? And then really just going from there and seeing what you want to do with like, what would you actually want to do for your life?
I would stress not worrying too much about whether it's hard or easy to do that major. Just do something you care about, and don't worry about the grades too much again. Like college is about learning. It's not really about getting good grades. It's about finding something you care about. And I find a lot of people like focus too much on how they do rather than what makes them happy. So do what makes you happy regardless of what the actual grading outcome is for that major.
Kind of going off of that, I know as a pre-health major, a lot of times I felt like a huge sense of like imposter syndrome, and just like not feeling like I was adequate enough. And like there were people who like kind of slightly said like maybe you should consider something else, mostly because I think that it's a really cutthroat place to come from. But I definitely would say that one thing that helped me in figuring out what I wanted to do with my major was kind of looking at a point in my life where I felt the most like trials and tribulations, and seeing if there was like kind of anything in that I could pull out to kind of, motivate me to think about what I want to do with my future.
I'd say your first few semesters are the ones where you can try anything out, and don't let a bad grade stop you, because I think someone mentioned earlier, these are often the weeder courses that are often harder and on the curves, whereas the higher level classes can get more interesting, more fun, and like smaller, and you can get higher grades on them too.
I agree with Trevor. I feel like you shouldn't worry about the difficulty of the major, and actually if you pick a major that you like, it's going to be easier for you because you're going to be more motivated to do the courseworks and everything like that.
So that pretty much concludes the kickback today. These same cast members are going to come back on Friday to tell you guys a little story, and also put questions down below if you have any questions for a specific person or for their school that they'll address in the story as well. Other than that, thanks guys. Bye.
Bye.
Next Monday, I'm going to have 8 basketball players at the kickback to tell me about school spirit, game day, and what it's like to be a student athlete. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Otherwise, make sure to smash the subscribe button and press the bell so you can know when I post, which is every Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. And I'll see you guys on the next kickback. Bye.